All right, well, let's jump right in. Let me make sure everything is ready to go, and we will begin. So everybody, thank you for joining us today for today's get together. We'll be covering how to start your augmented analytics journey with Oracle Analytics. My name is Brendan Doyle. Today I'll be accompanied by my colleagues Satyam Singh and apologies. Can you hear me? My headphones just cut out.
I can hear you, Brendan.
Thanks. I'll be accompanied by my colleague Satyam Singh and Dan Vlamis of Vlamis Software Solutions and our Oracle or our Analytics and Data Oracle user community, which is an Oracle user group. Now, today for the Oracle Analytics Get Together agenda, we'll be covering our Oracle Analytics vision and strategy, its platform and its features, Oracle and our union with our user group, ANDOUC. And then we'll have a demo delivered by Dan Vlamis on Oracle Analytics Cloud, and we'll share some visualization examples and an overview, and we'll conclude with the Q&A. So if you do have any questions, please add them to the Q&A box at the bottom of the Zoom. My name is Brendan Doyle. I'm a senior product manager on the product strategy team of Oracle Analytics. So jumping right into the product strategy, to kick things off, I wanted to start with our Oracle mission statement, which was delivered by our founder, Larry Ellison, during last year's Oracle Open World keynote presentation. Our mission is to help people see data in new ways, discover insights, and unlock endless possibilities. Now, if it were up to me, I'd end the mission statement after the first six words, as it's truly just to help people. Now, how is Oracle Analytics' team aligning to this mission? Simply, our team's vision with Oracle Analytics is to allow you, the user, to go from data to insights to decisions and ultimately taking actions delivered off those data-backed decisions. Data visualization and visual reporting is very important, but it's essential to make it meaningful where people can look at it, get quick insights, and in turn come to their decisions to be acted upon. The quickest path for better decisions and actions with AI and analytics is to leverage these capabilities of Oracle Analytics in different areas of the business, such as finance, accounting, marketing, and HCM, and more. Now, our strategy is to simplify and unify the analytics experience for our users. In June of last year, Oracle Analytics announced its product rebranding with an emphasis on simplifying the user's experience, as well as unifying our product portfolio and your entire analytics processes down to one singular platform. It's truly a one-stop shop for your organization-wide analytics. We simplified and unified by consolidating 18 plus BI and analytics products into our three core products under the Oracle Analytics umbrella. These three products being Oracle Analytics Cloud, Oracle Analytics Server, and Oracle Fusion Analytics Warehouse. The analytics experience with these three products is modern, intuitive to use, and quick to gain insights with, which you'll see in the coming demo. So in terms of analytics products, the first one that I want to talk about is Oracle Analytics Cloud. Oracle Analytics Cloud is an augmented analytics platform, so it's much, much more than just a data visualization tool. You will absolutely have the extensive data visualization capabilities, but OAC, as it is an acronym, also provides you the data preparation and data flow capabilities. It's self-upgrading, self-securing, and self-tuning. The machine learning with Oracle Analytics Cloud is integrated within. So to supercharge your analysis even further with machine learning, you can leverage the advanced integration to Oracle's autonomous data warehouse. Oracle Analytics Cloud has AI, NLG, and NLP, which are natural language generation and natural language processing. And it also has intelligent data enrichment integrated within. The Oracle Analytics Cloud provides you a singular platform for your analytics needs and processes. Oracle Analytics Server, on the other hand, is almost the exact same code line as Oracle Analytics Cloud, but it's intended for those customers and users who are on premise. While OAC's update release is every 2 months, Oracle Analytics Servers is every year. A big difference between the two is that Oracle is not managing the server of the instance, the customer is managing it for Oracle Analytics Server. Lastly, current OBIE customers with active support agreements can upgrade to OAS at no cost. Finally, we have Oracle Fusion Analytics Warehouse, which is a new product that is launched this year, specifically starting for ERP and HCM. So if you are a Fusion ERP or HCM customer, or in the future, SCM, CX, or NetSuite customer, in one click, you can implement Oracle Fusion Analytics Warehouse. Essentially, what will happen with Oracle Fusion Analytics Warehouse is that Oracle will create an autonomous data warehouse for you. We will create all the data pipeline. We'll load your data from your Fusion ERP or HCM to autonomous data warehouse. We'll create the data modeling, the tuning, and securing of that data warehouse as well. Then we'll spin up an Oracle Analytics instance, which will be the area where you'll be able to create your dashboards and drill down into your specific KPI catalogs. This will provide your decision makers of your organization an opportunity to quickly come into that instance and see a standardized dashboard of their KPIs. They can easily add any of the KPIs that they additionally would like to see from the KPI catalog, and your team can drill down and add comments where need be. Now, in terms of roadmap, I won't spend too much time on this, but I will share the link for further investigation. I wanted to at least share the November 2020 roadmap pertaining to Fusion Analytics Warehouse, Oracle Analytics Cloud, and Oracle Analytics Server. So at the top, it's really for our Fusion Analytics Warehouse product. You'll see what's coming in 2021 and what's been delivered in this current year. At the bottom, focusing on Oracle Analytics Cloud and Oracle Analytics Server, you'll see a lot of new features and capabilities that are arriving as well, such as improvements around the map layers and filtering capabilities which have been delivered, and a JDBC driver, which allows for even more data source connectivity. Now, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Satnam Singh to cover our analytic platform. Satnam, over to you, and I'll stop sharing.
Thanks, Brendan. Can you see my screen and hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us on talking about the Augmented Analytics. I'll be talking about the analytics platform, our Oracle Analytics Cloud product. As you move to make data more prominent in your culture, we assert that there are three areas that play a key role in those efforts. The first, as you look from left to right, is accessing more data. Sometimes that means accessing data you already have that is stuck in different silos. Sometimes that is accessing new data sources. It means being able to combine different data sources together in a structured manner for new and better insights. As Oracle, we want you to have the ability to be able to combine and utilize all data. The second is really empowering the users, our customers, throughout your organization to use data by giving the analytics tools that help you use your knowledge of the business to get more information out of the data. Tools that explain and lead you to insights and help you to answer and take actions on your questions. And the third is to use the methods of data science to provide new information, augmented capabilities that make your work better and help you drive innovation within your organization. I won't spend too much time here, but these are the three key pillars of the Oracle Analytics platform across governed, self-service, and augmented. The Oracle Analytics platform enables you to balance the business freedom of self-service with a governed framework to achieve the best blend of the self-service agility as well as the operational consistency for your organization. That allows you to fuel innovation without necessarily sacrificing accuracy or peace of mind. Now, given the context of the discussion today, of the session today, I'll be focusing on the one that's on the rightmost of it, which is Augmented Analytics. Within Augmented Analytics, there are four key focus areas that I'll be talking about today and that are most valuable. From left to right, these are augmented data preparation, which includes machine learning-based data profiling with built-in and custom knowledge, intelligent data quality assessment, predictive model transformation, if you will, data enrichment, and also sensitive data detection and obfuscation, as you will see in a little mini demo that I'll show you how Oracle Analytics can identify data such as social security numbers that may be present in your data and give you recommendations and quick one-click ability to obfuscate or mask that data. So that's the augmented data preparation. The second piece is the machine learning and explainable AI. This is related to creating models or integrating them with external data science platforms, transactional and batch scoring, or integrated explainability for model scoring as well. Moving on to natural language, we have support for 28 languages with speech and text and speech recognition. We have advanced linguistic capabilities within the product. And we also have, going into the storytelling, we also have an embedded NLG engine for dynamic narratives. So within the storytelling, that plus the analytics presentations that utilize those dynamic narratives, magazine style layouts, your ability to digitize and animate any image with data, and we'll show some of these examples towards the end in visualization, and automated storytelling, if you will. So let's go through each one of these one by one. Let's start with augmented data preparation. This is where the Oracle Analytics offers you ability to enrich your data set with automated machine learning algorithm recommendations to include things like time variations, population, geography, and more. And the longer you use OAC, Oracle Analytics Cloud, the more it understands the way you interact with data, allowing the machine learning algorithms to augment your data and suggest smart enrichment options before you even start. We have a patented deep data profiling that identifies the specific role of each column and generates machine learning based recommendations for things like fixing bad formatting or transformations or removing sensitive information, as I shared earlier, as well as enrichment based on system and custom knowledge. Let me show this with the help of an example. So in this, you will see there's transaction data that includes sensitive data such as social security number, which OAC identifies and recommends that you either mask it, delete it, or obfuscate it, or capture it in part. And subsequently, given the attribute name for zip code, OAC suggests augmenting it with city, state, and county data. So you will see that come up in a few seconds here. We're starting off with state, then we'll go to city, and then ultimately OAC will allow you to augment that with county data as well. And for those people who have noticed that zip code looks like a numeric field, give it a few seconds and you will see that we'll be able to change that very easily. You can take that, as you see at the bottom left, it says data type number. You can quickly change that to a string so that it's much more easier, if you will. Within OAC also, the user is also able to quickly review the formatted metadata and easily extract from the point of sale date in the transaction data, easily able to extract date and month from that date attribute, if you will. And as you can see, extracting both date and the month of the year, as well as the year. Okay. Now let's move on to the next section that I talked about, which is machine learning and explainable AI. Here, you have the benefit of embedded machine learning that predicts results and forecasts quickly in one click with zero coding required. You have an intuitive user interface. You can obtain these types of data-driven predictive insights in a couple of clicks and mere clicks. All have been powered by smart data prep and discovery. With OAC, you leverage the built-in machine learning to automatically explain your data, creating an easier path to starting your analysis, handling predictive analytics, and building compelling visual data stories. Right? And this is for users of any level. For users who have a PhD or are advanced data scientists, they can come in and utilize data flow to train machine learning models, as well as utilize the benefits of predetermined, pre-built models as well. Right? So let's show this with the help of an example about employee attrition. So in here, as an HR leader, you would like to understand the key factors that affect employee attrition. With the OAC's explain feature, this is as simply as you saw, clicking on attrition for an initial exploratory data analysis around the values related to attrition. Then you can look at the key drivers for attrition around job role or time or the job level. And From there, you can also see how easy it is to simply, some of the analysis that you believe are valuable, you can simply select them and add them to your dashboard so that you can review and analyze them further. As you will see, the particular demo is going to go through right now in segmentation, look at the various segmentations that have 86% confidence, and look at the anomalies, if you will, as well, that the data, the groups in your data that exhibit unexpected results for attrition. Again, very easy to click, bring that back into your dashboard for subsequent analysis and review, if you will. Okay. Moving on, let's, in the interest of time here, natural language processing. Very simple and straightforward here. You can query data directly using natural language processing. It makes it simplifies the process of finding the right data. No query or SQL needed. You can ask directly questions from the homepage, mobile or desktop. Augmented Analytics gives you the ability to scan all available sources for best matched insights. And it is voice enabled. Speech, as I shared earlier, it's speech enabled in 28 languages. Again, I always like to show things with an example. So let's take a very quick example. This is for a desktop. The similar thing would be applicable with a voice on a mobile app as well. So as you can see in this particular one, we'll state our query in a very natural way. I need revenue by product type, by month, as well as number of customers. And the system is able to recognize that, convert that into a query, and give you the results. Pretty straightforward, pretty quick, and easy to use. And finally, for storytelling, the natural language generation automatically creates smart textual descriptions of visualizations that can interact with other data and instantly filter, saving you hours of time describing chart insights. And you can use it with just a few clicks. You can save yourself significant time and effort for reports and presentations, freeing you up to focus on more intensive tasks and responsibilities. You've seen some examples of the individual features sets, if you will, for Augmented Analytics. I'm now going to invite Dan Lamis, president of Lamis Software Solutions, an esteemed partner of ours and a leader of the analytics and data Oracle user community, to walk us through a demo. Dan, over to you.
Thank you, Satnam. So let me share my screen here. Hopefully you can see that. So thank you for the opportunity to share with you what we've done. I'm the member and on the board of the Analytics and Data Oracle user community. By the way, quick plug, if people want to learn more about that, andouc.org. You can learn more and come join us on that. So let me take you through a few things on that. We do have an upcoming conference called TechCast Days. We have a user community that shares various technical expertise, no sales pitches in this type of stuff. You can submit a presentation. We'd love to have your presentations. You can see a example from our Slack channel where people will post things where others reply back. You can join our workspace. We also have a series of TechCasts about every 2 weeks. You can look at it on YouTube on our channel and subscribe to our newsletter. And we send that out on a daily basis with things that we think would be of interest. The Analytics and Data Oracle user community is actually worldwide. We've got people in all sorts of countries. Back when we were meeting, when conferences were in person, we hosted an Analytics and Data Summit, and this is where all the people were attending from. So with that, let me go ahead and show a live demo. I believe in living maybe perhaps a little more dangerously, and we'll show this stuff live. So let's go ahead and I've uploaded a data set that actually is coming from an Excel spreadsheet. And all I did to do it was drag it onto the home page. And I wanted to show you the data that I'm working with. And I'll tell you, I am focusing especially on the autonomous capabilities for this webcast. But this is what it looks like. We've got several columns of data with orders and lines and that type of stuff. We'll come back to this tab. But let me show you what it's like just to get going, just to get started in visualizing the data. So I'm looking at this now, and if I have on the left, I've got this blank canvas. And if I just double click on something like sales, one of the things that the software is doing is trying to figure out what is the best way to visualize that data. And we've got this set to auto visualization. That's the default. And it comes up with what we call a performance tile of just the number on that. If I then add to that and pick out something like the order date, and I want to look at sales by order date, it changes the visualization to be a line graph. So it comes up with sales by order date. And if I want to add also, well, let's look at the product category as well. Double click on that and it says, well, what should I do with that? Well, I'll put that in the color. And you can see it's building up a grammar in the grammar pane on here as to how to do stuff. And it color codes this by product category. Now I can take out the order date on here and it's going to switch back to a bar chart at this point, just looking at this by product category. And then I can even remove that product category, and what it's going to do, go back to our performance tile. Now I've done something else. If we add a city on here, you'll see that I went ahead and told the software that city is a geographic dimension or a geographic attribute of the data. That's why you see this little pinpoint icon. And now we're looking at the data by city, and it displays it automatically by a graph. We did not have to configure any map layers, any of that type of stuff. And then if I change this to country and come in, and you can see it's putting dots where all the cities are, and it's color coded the sales by the amount of blue is proportional to how much sales is there. If I replace and drag and drop country on here, now it's going to actually color code each of the countries with a choropleth to show the countries as an area, and ramping sales from 35,000 up to 2 million. Now, if I want, all of that is basically just changing the type of visualization to be a map. If I want to change the type of visualization, I can come in here and override it and change to any of these other types of visualizations and make it, for instance, just a regular bar graph. And I see the same information presented as a bar graph. So it just gives you a quick view of what this data, and what I wanted to show was one of the capabilities is this ability to pick the best visualization. Frankly, it's been in the product for years at this point, but it's one of the nice features in the product. Now, if I go in and look at how the data was prepared, and I can make all sorts of changes, there's a live environment where I can make changes to the data. This is my data, I uploaded it. You can see, by the way, where I did this city, I made a marker on here. And all I did to do that was I clicked location details. And indeed, inside the software, I can specify what map layer to use. I specified world cities. And you can see, actually, for some of the cities, it doesn't know exactly, these are the ambiguous cities in there. But then most of them have this 100% confidence of where they are. There's extra stuff. Just know there's a lot of things behind the scenes that are going on, and you can override a lot of this behavior and change things and say, no, I don't want this point versus another, and it can help you figure out how to best make it so that it's not ambiguous. If I then look at what other things I can do with this data, I think Satnam talked about this enrichment capability, and you can see there's all sorts of things. If I scroll this across and look at the country column and click on that, for example, there are all sorts of options that the software has figured out how to enrich, for instance, the country column. And this is trying to figure out what the best way to present this data is. We're looking at just the first page of data here, but you can see if I want to enrich country, for instance, with population, I click on here, and it's going to add another column for country population that it figures out, because I might want to use that later on. If I then, and when I do that, by the way, one of the things that I found is for the population, I want to change this from sum. You don't want to sum up these populations. So I'm going to go in and here change this to an average so that it averages my populations when it's doing, adding these two rows together for India, for instance. I can also enrich country come back here and enrich it with, for instance, the ISO 2 code. I'll use that later on as I show you different things. I can have an abbreviation for this. It knows things about that. And by the way, there are all sorts of enrichments that are available. You can even add your own lexicon, your own grammar for doing this. And there's the ability to add your own types of dictionaries for other types of enrichments. If I look at all the different types of recommendations in this recommendation engine, there's all sorts of things I can do. I'll just pick on this day of week from ship date and add that in as well. We want to extract the day of week, and it figures out for ship date what the day of week. It's important when you're loading the data, actually make it a data type. And then it knows certain things about dates, how to do year to dates and that type of thing. And obviously here, pick the ship date of week. And that way, you know, we could explore our orders heaviest on Friday, that type of thing. You know, obviously we could always build a time dimension table with all of this, and in a more sophisticated analysis, you may do that. But, you know, hey, for getting going quickly, this is a very nice feature where it automatically knows the days. And you'll see as we go through the demo script, we'll take advantage of this a little bit. Now, one of the things that's going on as we add these various columns, it is building what's called a preparation script. So all of this, it's keeping track of this and not just doing a one-time change, but it is remembering everything that we do with this so that if we reload the data, it will then do this again. You can see I already changed the properties of city and country to make them geographic on here as well. And so now I can apply this script and it'll add these columns and makes it so available for analysis. So let me go back and visualize that data in here and show you what that looks like. I'm going to change the country. One of the things I did was add country ISO 2. So let me swap that. And you can see right now the labels are going down. It really has no choice but to put those labels going down. So let me take country ISO 2 and swap that over here. And now it'll fit with 2-letter country codes in here. So I didn't have to build an auxiliary table or anything like that. It automatically knew. And then actually, let me show a couple features of the product. If I want only the top 10, let me take sales, drag that up here, and make a filter out of that. And then I want to, instead of doing this, let me do a filter type of top 10. You can see I could do individual ranges in here, or I can pick just the top 8 countries, something like that, by typing in here. So this filter bar is being used. This is, by the way, how you can prompt through and change and filter down which data you're going to look at. For instance, I can look at for order date in here. I can pick, I only want the data, drag this year up here, and I can filter the data to only 2015, and it changes the data on here. I can also, if I right-click sales, I would tell you just the best practice that we use in our consulting business is we would typically always include a sort order so that you sort your data from high to low, that type of thing. Otherwise, what is the a alpha sort is a type of sort on here. But we'd recommend that you actually think about what order you want to sort the data in. If I want to add the population, you saw I add that. I can add that, for instance, to the tooltip. So now, as I hover over each one of these countries, I can see the population appear in here. Now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this canvas. This is so I can keep track. All these things are being kept track of on what's called a canvas, and we'll talk about that a little more. But I'm going to duplicate it so I have another one that I can look back on. Again, another general best practice is to do this fairly often so you can get back where you want, where you were. There's always an undo capability, but sometimes you want to undo the 37th thing before that you did before. So periodically I duplicate my canvases. So what if I want, for instance, in here also a table of cities that are the sales for each one of these countries. So I'm going to come in here and click on city, and I'm going to click on sales, control click on there, And I'm going to, instead of adding it to this visualization, I'm going to pick a visualization in here. And I'm going to go ahead and make that a table of data and look at that. And now I can have the cities for these top 8 cities. Notice the filter applies to that as well. Click on, now as I click on my various countries, you'll see that it'll highlight the countries in this. These are automatically linked in here. And then if I turn on the filtering capability and make this a filter of that, and I click on Great Britain, it will limit to only those in here that I want. So let me go ahead, and this shows best. If I drag this over here and include this as a column, you'll see it's going to then filter this view based on this view. And as a matter of fact, this shows better if I kind of move the separator across on here. So that makes it so that this graph is driving this other filter in here. So it's very nice capability right out of the box. So what if I've put this together, what if I don't know what I want to represent? And Satnam gave kind of a preview of this, but I wanted to show you what it looks like live. If I come in here and say, all right, just give me the story behind the data. If I were to, for instance, right click on sales and specify explain sales. This is kind of a one-click, creating a dashboard for me, if you will. And now when I see there's some basic facts about sales that it tells me, I can scroll down and find interesting breakouts. What this turns into effectively is a histogram of each of the the sales for each of the attributes that are loaded into my data set. So I'm going to put a check mark on order priority and subcategory. Come in here, and I can pick any of these that I want in here and put them in a dashboard. I also want to see this. What's another one? Order date looks good to me. And then I also even have anomalies of sales as well. If this is the anomalous behavior that Satnam was talking about, it'll tell me when customer segment is consumer, we expected to see this, or when order priority is high, we expected sales for customer support. And it's really just doing some things in the software to look at anomaly detection is what this is really doing. So let's go ahead and select this one. This looks interesting because I didn't expect that for the corporate sales to be so much lower than what they expected. So let me go ahead and add that to selected and then come back, and now I've built an additional canvas of the various presentations that I wanted to see of the data. And so that's kind of a starting point for doing additional analysis. Now this one's interesting, but I want to show something else. We should sort this. So let me go ahead and come and duplicate this visualization. All right, and then what I want to do also is change this to give me the story behind the data and change the type of visualization. The language narrative visualization is just another type of visualization. If your data is structured in the right way, it will come in and tell you the breakdown of product subcategory and in effect write some text for you about it. Now, I'll be the first to tell you it doesn't always pick the story that you expect you want it to pick. It's having to figure out how to summarize this. But it's a very nice capability to give you a start of the types of things that it's saying. Telephone and communication are the biggest, with sales of $1.3 million on here. You can pick that out of this graph, especially if I sort it in here. If I go ahead and sort this, but it's a little bit of making you find the information in here instead. So let me show one of the thing in here that creates this explain sales. Let me show you if we pick instead a categorical type of column, and I'm going to explain subcategory in here. And in that case, it's going to give you a few more options in here. And it's going to give you some basic facts again. This is information about product subcategory. And then it's going to look at the various measures that I have in each. And so I'll take the sales measure in here. And then we'll also look at the key drivers for this. And there are several different what drives the product subcategory. And it's just doing a simple analysis in the database on this. And we'll look at the category container apparently drives this a lot. So let's look at that one. And then we can also look at the segments that can explain it, and as well, and not various anomalies. So we'll look at this and look at the anomalies of product subcategory and look at small business and look at this for various. I can even pick which subcategory I want to look at. I can pick appliances or bookcases or any of those, explain any of those, and find the anomalies for those. Let me go ahead and just grab this, that segment of small business. We expected this to be that. We add that and add that to a canvas. So this gives you a lot of start. These things can, by the way, in a larger database can take a while to run because it's running through all of this. And that's why there is a choice of getting more values from that, more explanations, and you can choose which ones, and it'll just keep on loading. So now I've got a couple different canvases. I can click through them to change them. But let me show you also what we can do if we create a calculation. Perhaps it's unfair to look at sales across by various countries like I was looking at before. And I want to look at the calculation sales per million capita or something like that. So I'm going to add a calculation in here, add a calculation and show you what's in here. Okay, and then I can just go in and grab sales in here, drag it over, divided by the way, there's all sorts of operators in here that you can choose, as well as various functions. There's a whole syntax in here that will be very much like what you're probably used to, aggregation functions and so forth, as well as some of the more analytic functions in here, clustering, trending, outliers, and so forth. So there's sales, and I'm going to take that and divide by population. So I went ahead and grabbed population so I could do this, and sales by country population, and times. And I can either type or drag these things over. Validate this thing, make sure I have the syntax right, and save this away. So now that I've got this, let me add a new canvas in here, start over, and I'm going to drag sales and country over. And it's going to give me a graph, and I'm going to do the same with, instead, country and sales per million capita. And create a new visualization if I drag it to the edge. And you'll see there's a difference between looking at the sales per the color-coded map by sales and the color-coded map once you divide by population. You can see in Australia, we have a lot of sales compared to that. If I then want to look at another analysis, I'm going to look at doing some built-in forecasting on here. Again, some of the augmented analytics type capabilities in here. So I'm going to look at sales by order date. And instead of order date, I'm going to change this to show by, and look at this because it's hard to see what's really going on. Let's look at this by month. One of the things that by having date dimensions in here, it automatically knows some of the things that you would want to do with dates. And so all of this is built into the product. And if I want to look at this and aggregate it on a monthly basis, it's as simple as saying that to show by and then by month. And now I can see a much better trend graph of this, instead of it being, if you will, so noisy. If I then want to extend this out, built in is the ability to add statistics to this and look at a forecast of this. And I'll look at the forecast for this out the next, let's say, 12 months. Now we have other algorithms we can use. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but this is in here. And actually, if I add, I'll capitalize on this a little bit and put year as color. And that way you can see the various years in here, and you'll see the pattern towards the end of the year. We always have a spike, and indeed that's represented in the forecast because we've used a seasonal enrichment type of model in order to do the forecast. That's the default in here. If we want to control this better, this built-in forecasting capability, by the way, just a little behind the scenes what's going on. When you add your statistics and make a forecast, you don't have quite as much power sometimes as you always want. So I'm going to show you what you can do to do this. If we create a data flow. So I'm going to save this away. So when I save this project away, others can recall it. There's a whole capability to share this. This isn't really part of the augmented analytics capability. It's what you would expect in any ad hoc and dashboard creation tool in here. So let's go ahead and save that away. And I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit you can do if you want to create this with a data flow. So in here also is all the preparation capabilities, but also the ability to do some analysis on the data in something called a data flow. So rather than going through all of this and taking time to do it, I've already created one for you. It's really simple. I've added global sales data. There's all sorts of different operators I can do in here. One of them is a time series forecast. And if we scroll down in here, you can specify what your target is, what the order date, how many periods, what model type you want to do, the prediction confidence, that how you do numerical column imputation method, all that type of stuff. And then I can save that away either as another data set on my in here, or I can add that to a calculation that I have in my autonomous data warehouse and write it back. If I look down at the types of algorithms, the operations I can do in here, those all sorts of them, cumulative value, here's the time series forecast I used. You can analyze sentiment, train a numeric prediction, multi-classifier, clustering, binary classifier, and I'll tell you this apply model capability has the ability to reach through to the Oracle database and apply various models in here and apply them in the database. We already have some things in here like a decision tree already in here, hierarchical cluster models, and that will use the power of the Oracle database with this as a front end as well to look at that and tune this model. This is an area I will tell you of active development by Oracle. In every release, there are leaps and bounds coming out of all of this. So there's a lot more in here as well. So let me just go back then and come back and show you some of the stuff that we showed. I'm looking to try and wrap up in here. I wanted to give you a taste of what this looks like if I come back and look at the project that we created. Let me come back here and look at the global demo. This is what I went ahead and showed. You saw a forecast of stuff. In the very beginning, we showed just the ability to do some bar graphs. I showed you some transformations of it. You could get a sense of what you could do with just getting started with the tool. Link between a visualization that links to another visualization as you go ahead and click through this. We went through the explain capability of being able to right-click a column and explain that column, whether it be a numeric or a categorical type of column. And as well, we also went through building things with maps, creating calculations, and there are all sorts of, by the way, when we were building this, when Explain went and created that expected sales, it added as a calculation in here. Let me show you a little behind the scenes. This is the function that it created to do that. You can use this to learn how to use the functions yourself to take it behind doing more things than just what's available in here. So there's a whole power of a tool behind all of this that you can go wild with, and you are not going to outstrip the capabilities of this type of software. Then we did a forecast with this. That's what I wanted to show in terms of kind of a live demo, give you a sense of what's behind the tool, behind the scenes, and some of this is stuff you can do yourself. With that, I'll turn things back over to Satnam.
I'll grab the slides, but thank you so much, Dan. That was fantastic. One moment, let me share my screen. So thank you so much, Dan, for that that OAC demo. I'm going to share just a few more quick visualization examples that both feature augmented capabilities, but other capabilities that will take you, the analyst, to take care of, to create. But a lot more expansive storytelling with Oracle Analytics is capable. So the next slide, just a quick overview. Dan showed some of the examples of our one-click statistical analyses. This is just another quick example of the multiple one-click analyses that you can do from different regression perspectives. This one is a little more interesting. It's actually not an out-of-the-box visualization itself. It's bringing in your own custom map layers. So for this one in particular, it's showing the DC metro line. So for the activity of the specific traffic of the trains in the Washington, DC metro area, and how frequent the passengers take specific lines. So obviously pre-COVID, but definitely don't take the blue line if you're trying to get somewhere fast. This is just another example that you can even further your data storytelling with custom images that you can bring in. So you'll be seeing the MRI on the right side that's brought in. You can overlay polygons to make any image that you would like brought in a visualization. Another map visualization, just to show, looking at the San Francisco airport, we can see which gates are the busiest, and you can figure from this information which flights are likely to get delayed. Again, just the ability to overlay a custom image just to further your context in your data storytelling. And last one is just to show that you can get very advanced with the visualizations, as Dan showed, and as this slide is showing as well, within Oracle Analytics. Here, you're seeing an example of natural language generation and the ability to customize the specific coloring and font. So for this instance, it's the dark mode, as they call it. So it's becoming more and more popular, as we're seeing with customers. Now, before we conclude today's get together, I want to make sure we share a lot of useful information so you can go off and learn more about Oracle Analytics yourself. So I'll pause for a couple seconds, and these will be shared out as well, but you can screenshot these specific links that will take you through our Oracle sites for more resources on Oracle Analytics, specifically our product pages, our YouTube channel with updates on playlist or updates on feature releases, our 2 free Udemy courses that cover extensive depth into Oracle Analytics and provide tutorials, and then as well our social media accounts. Our Cloud Customer Connect is where you'd be able to go ahead and share your forum inputs or your ideas for Oracle Analytics as well.
Brendan, if you don't mind me saying, back on the,
absolutely.
Links, the youtube.com evolving BI, in our consulting practice, I'll just point out to people, we have found those YouTube links to be especially helpful in terms of demos. If you want to see more what the product can do, that is a great place to see what new features are and how to use the product effectively. So I'd highlight that youtube.com evolving BI link. Is very nice.
Super.
Thanks, Dan. The other one, not to take.
Go ahead. No.
Brendan, but there's a lot of work that the enablement team, we have an enablement team that focuses on training, creating training, documentation and training opportunities, training content, if you will. And they're putting a lot of effort, and there quite a bit of that is ending up on Udemy. So along with what Dan suggested in terms of youtube.com/evolvingbi, I would highly recommend checking out those Udemy links as well in terms of the support that you can get from them. So that's it, Brendan. Sorry for interrupting. Back to you.
Not a problem at all. And one that I did forget to mention, so I'm glad we jumped back, was this OAC library, the bit.ly. On our OAC library, this is just a a great resource site. It contains tutorials and specific DVA examples that you can bring into your instance, but it also has extension visualizations. And what those are visualizations that aren't out of the box, but they're created by our Oracle Analytics community, and you can download them and bring them into your OAC instance for use throughout DV. Now, Dan, I'll let you cover the engagement and save the date slide for ANDOUC.
Sure. So in terms of analytics and data, we have an upcoming conference called TechCast Days that I want everybody to save the date on that. It takes place for 3 hours, January 26th, 3 hours, January 27th, 3 hours, and 28th for 3 hours. You'll find more information on that URL, analyticsanddatasummit.org/techcastdays. And then there are all sorts of ways to link up with us. Choose which method you like. The Slack one, I will point out, especially is where people tend to, if you will, hang out. I have that available on my Slack workspace available in my Slack application, and take a look at that. And that's where you can connect up with other people. So, and then check out the website at andouc.org. Basically, you can get to all this stuff from there eventually. So, would like invite any of you to join us in the user community.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. One last request as well. Our team would love to hear your feedback regarding your use. If you are an Oracle Analytics user, either OAC, OAS, or FAW, we have a review through the Gartner Peer Insights platform that typically can take 5 to 10 minutes, but we'd really appreciate if you would provide a review on your use of Oracle Analytics to help grow our community as well. So this is just the quick link of oracle.com/go/Gartner review. And with that, we'll open it up